Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here is part 2 on the spot repair that we're doing on this Jeep. So part 1 included the repair, primer and colour matching stages. I'm going to kick straight off where we left off in the first video. So the name of the colour is Echo Screen and the colour code is JGX, as you can see on screen there. So first up, as you noticed at the very start there, I was just wiping the panels down with a cleaner. So I actually use methylated spirits mixed with water at around a 50-50 mix. So for those in the US, I believe they call it denatured alcohol. So I just find it just cleans the panels down a little bit better than just water. Like a few years ago when I started making these videos, I just used a damp cloth just with water, and that does do the job fine. But yeah, the methylated spirits just, I don't know, cuts in a little bit better and just cleans it a little bit better, I've found anyway. So we're going to rip straight into that prime section with a bit of 400 grit on the Orbital sander. Got the Chicago pneumatic air sander there, and I've got my little dust extraction system, the one I got for $60 from Bunnings warehouse here in Australia, and strapped that up to the side of my trolley, and yeah, it does the job fine. So yeah, I mean, most of the time, like if you did see part 1, you probably remember that there was a reasonable size filler repair on this bumper bar, but when I got a wet coated primer on, I had a look down the side, I'm like, no, that's pretty straight, it wasn't going to need a block. Like if I had looked at it and saw a few highs and lows, I could have given it a block, and if it was like a steel panel on the car, probably would have given it a block. But bumper bars, you got a little bit of leeway. From factory, there's always some slight waves and ripples in them anyway, so they don't have to be 100% perfect. Now this job here is a car yard spot repair. I love doing them, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching them. I know lots of people do. Yeah, the boss usually, he'll just come down and like, we'll have our list of the cars that are going out that week, and we'll start to get to the point, oh yeah, we're getting on top, and then he'll just drive one of these and I'm like, cool. I actually enjoy it, you know. So it's never really a spanner in the works. When a spotty comes in, I'm like, yep, I'll do it. I don't mind doing it. I like working on, you know, the new cars, and at the end of the day, you know, this is probably an unsold car, to be honest, and the dealership just wants the budget job done, doesn't want to pay for remove and refit on the entire bumper bar. And yeah, happy to do the work for them. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. As you saw there, I was just sanding all the primer edges with a piece of 500. One of those Norton is the brand, softback sanding sponges. I reckon they're pretty good quality brand, the Norton ones. 3M one's good too. Just yeah, find one that works for you. But some of the real cheap ones I've found, they like the Sia actually, and I don't know how cheap they are, but I've used some of the Sia ones and they just die in no time. Although I used to use Sia abrasives across the board in this other shop that I worked at, and I remember them being actually pretty good, but just their softback sanding sponges, I'm not the biggest fan of them. You might like them, find what works for you, as I say. And then just on the blend areas, I'm hitting it with 800. So first on the primer edges, I hit it with 500, then blend edges with 800. You could replace that with a 1000 pad. However, the finer you go with your sandpapers, the more expensive it gets. So yeah, you can get those Abralon discs, and I think you're looking at like $120 for like 24 of those pads. So yeah, they are quite expensive. So if you do use those 1000 grits, just get the most out of them. Just don't just do one panel and turf them out, because yeah, they will cost you a fair bit of money, and the boss will probably start coming down and saying, well, why are we spending so much money on sandpapers? And you'll lose the privilege. So yeah, just over this section here is where I'm going to do a clear blend. I decided that the paint that was on there was in good enough condition that it didn't need a polish. If the car was a few more years old and there was a bit of a layer of like road grime or overspray or whatever it be, or the paint had started fading, I would have given it a bit of a polish before I blended into it, but the paint was in good enough condition that it didn't need it. And yeah, just going over some of those other edges that 800 grit pad didn't quite get into with the Scotchy as well. You may have noticed me getting an airline with the blower to blow the Scotchy out too. Again, it's one of those things, like I'll use probably only 2 bits of grey ScotchBrite per week, so I reuse them. but you just want to make sure that they're clean each time you use them, especially on your blend areas. Protect the blends at all costs. So that's about it for the prep work. Didn't take too long, did it? Obviously, I've edited some of the parts out. I believe for this entire job I had about an hour and a half's worth of footage, and it's probably going to be fit into about 35 minutes across the two videos. So that's where the Gunman Raw channel comes in, where I upload full unedited videos. If you'd like to see a bit more of the procedure, you can go and check that channel out. There'll be a link at the end. There always is in the description too. So once I'm happy with my prep work, I gave it another blow down, get all the dust off it, keep it clean, and you just saw me with a thinners rag just around the plastic parts, because what they do from the car yards, this one wasn't so bad, but some of the car yards are really bad for it. They'll just cover the things in armor, or anywhere there's plastic, they'll just get this basically silicone oily stuff, and your tape will not stick. So but in this case, I just run it over there just to make sure the tape did stick. Yep, got her in the booth and masking it up. So again, if this was like covered in silicone, I probably would have thinners ragged it, prep soled it, thinners like before and after each stage, so that, you know, and I mean before repairing, before priming, before painting, after masking, before masking, like just prep sol and thinners them heaps to minimize your chance of getting silicone and fish eyes and all that kind of thing. But as I say, this one wasn't too bad considering it's from a car yard. And just doing a bit of a false edge up on this line here. I wanted to paint it with the bonnet or the hood down. It's just a bit more convenient for me, and there's no need to paint inside there. These false edges work quite good. I've got a few other videos where I slow it right down to show you exactly how I do the false edge, but it's just one of those things going to take time to perfect, I guess. There is actually these, I think they were called like Easy Mask or Easy Masker or something. There's like a little machine and it folds the edge over for you. And I use them in a shop that I used to work at, and handy, but I honestly, if I had one now, I wouldn't use it because I find it so easy just to rip off and just to make a real long piece of the false edge masking. Essentially all you're doing is just flipping over one section of the tape onto itself, so it's not going to make a hard edge. And it's good to roll off. Like, you can paint some of those outies and you can just paint like the lower section of a door, false edge off there, peel it off, buff it up when it's dry, and you would never know. Yep, so I've got plastic over it, just slicing around the edges and taping it down. Pretty self-explanatory this stage, I know. There's not a great deal I can say about masking, I guess keep it tight, you don't want it flapping all around the place. I prefer to use plastic. Also make sure that the plastic is up the right way. These sheets of plastic do have a correct way to paint. I think like one side of it's treated, one of the boxes of plastic said Corona treated, whatever the hell that is. But if you do get them up the wrong way, you will go and unmask the car, or even sometimes when you're painting, the paint will start flaking off and landing in your paint job and make an absolute mess. So always get it up the right way. Another one is when you're masking, like it's actually better to get like a little bit of overspray than to not get enough paint on the panel. Like, say this is the gap, say you're painting this section and you don't want this section painted, you're better off having the masking down here a little bit, and it's easier to clean overspray off. But if your masking comes up onto the panel you're trying to paint, well, you have to paint it again, don't you? So that's pretty straightforward, I would imagine. All masked up and wiping it down with some wax and grease remover or Prepsol. Then gave it a good tack rag down. Again, edited most of that footage out and getting our base coat down. So my colour here is actually better than what was on there from factory. The bumpers are actually pretty dark from factory. It's pretty common. Most bumper bars on most new cars are a fair bit out. And yeah, just got me ANI R150 Black Edition, the old ones. They've actually got new ones now, the R150 Silvers, and they're basically the same gun. Well, I mean, they spray the same, but they're just silver, and like they kind of look a little bit better, I guess, easier to clean. These black ones have got like a bit of textured finish on it, but yeah, I did actually do a specific video just telling people that it's the same gun. So yeah, just using the Standox base coat. Get me 2 coats down first over the repaired area, the primed areas, and then I'm giving the blend area a tack rag down, and I've gone back to using 599, which is the Standox base coat blender. It's basically just transparent base coat, just clear base coat, and that just fills in your prep scratches so that when you go to do your blend, you don't get a bit of a halo around the edge, and it should blend in quite nice over that. I mean, you can put it down first, and like I do it sometimes, like on 3-stage colors, I'll put the base coat blender down before I even put my color down. But on just your standard 2-coat metallics, I've found it's best to do it this way anyway. Do it how you will at the end of the day. I'm not here to tell you how to do it. Try my way, do it the other way, find what works best for you. And yeah, just that last coat of base, just sort of going a bit of a tech coat, not going too heavy. Yeah, sort of medium wet, and that's it for the base coat. And yeah, we're going to be smashing a couple of coats of Standox Standard Clear down next. I probably should have turned that light on, might have made it a bit easier for you to see me. So yeah, I just walked out, cleaned the base coat gun out, mixed the clearer up, and by that time it's usually flashed off. Set the boot temperature to about 27 degrees. It's a bit cold here at the moment in Perth, our winter. As most of my viewers are from America and the Northern Hemisphere, so it's your summer. So it's always the opposite for us down here. And yeah, loving this Standox Standard Clear. I just mixed up 100 mils for this job, and probably could have gone 80 mils really. And yeah, just the old tack and whack method. 1 coat, another quick coat followed over the top, and that's it. And yeah, the wet outs, fade out, whatever you want to call it. They're really quite basic. Like I've just got a separate gun, ANI R150 silver, just with the AK350, which is Chromax fade out thinner, and put it over the edge, and it just melts that clear in. Give her a quick buff up, and you'd never know. And yeah, I mean, they probably won't last forever. You know, there will come a time that you will be able to see that fade out. I'm well aware of that, but this is a car yard spot repair. It's what they want. They want the cheapest job, so we give it to them. I enjoy doing it, as I keep saying to you guys. So this is what I like about having these mini guns. You can get right into those intricate corners and angles without overloading the paint and coming back after you baked it and having all the paint on the floor because it's running off. So yeah, this is the AK350 in this gun, and yeah, so I clear over my 800 scratches and halfway over the ScotchBrite scratches, and then the fade out thinners goes half over your ScotchBrite scratches and half over unsanded paint. And then we'll buff that in later on in just a couple of minutes. So that's it. That's the job done basically. It just needs a quick polish. We'll take it out the back, give it a couple of D-nibs. It wasn't too dirty, like didn't have too much in there, but you know, your hand will tell you, like once it's baked out, once it's dry, get it out of the detailing area, run your hand over it, feel a few nibs, get my tungsten. If it had to go the same day, I wouldn't have tungstened it, but as you can see here, I'm just giving it a bit of a tungsten back. And on bumper bars a lot of the time these days, I've just been going tungsten and polishing it straight up without even actually sanding it. But you can go hit it with a bit of 2000 grit just by hand even, or you can get the block, whatever. You know, just find whatever works for you. And this section here I'm actually using, because it's just a small area on a bumper bar, I didn't really want to hit it with the coarse compound. I'm just using the Juice Super C. So it's not the coarsest one we do have at our shop. We've got the Freckly G6. I know some people are going to be cringing at the fact that I actually use it, but I like it. When you do use it, it is recommended to use it as like a three-stage cut. So you go really coarse cut, get rid of your 2000 grit marks with the G6, and then you can go like a burnishing cream, and then go a fine polish. Well, and then after that you can actually even do a hand wax as well. So it's actually a bit of a 4-stager. But yeah, these days I've been doing all my polishing. I don't really mind it. Like I remember hating it because when I was an apprentice, like you sort of tortured with it. You know, you had to do everyone's cut and polishing. It's like, oh no, I've got to do cut and polishing again. But now I go out the back and it's like, it's not that bad. It doesn't take that long, you know. Just smash them out and you're back in the paint shop. So yeah, it's not too bad. Cause I remember telling you guys a while ago that we lost a detailer, and we've got a detailer now, but he's actually mainly doing just the cleaning of the cars. Like he'll do the buff all overs. If a car comes in with faded paint, he'll do them. But we're usually polishing most of our own jobs. Unless we're really busy, he'll just do like a bumper bar. But if it's like the side or a front of a car, we'll just do it ourselves. Usually sort it out within half an hour to an hour if it's a big job or something. So all good. Anyway, that's it for this video there, Gunners. Hope you did enjoy watching it. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next one. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.